artist.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. And then I will do the roll call. Starting with Mayor Lindsay, present. Bert Lehman, not present. Mark Manley.
Here.
All right. Chuck Hasford.
Here.
Roger Lowe.
Present.
Present. Myself, Glenn Tillery. Okay. Councilman Todd Tatum. Not here. Mike Provine.
Here.
Gene Quist.
Yeah.
And that looks good. And we also have the guy, Ruel is on board, who's our consultant. I've got my speaker cranked up as high as it goes, so I apologize. Ilya, I'm still working on this. Hopefully we can get that where you all can hear, but I'll have to repeat if need be. So first thing we're going to hit is the approval of today's agenda. Have you all had a chance to look over that? Okay, Ileana, lead me here. Can I just say?
Move to approve the agenda as written.
Move to approve. The agenda is written by Mark Manley. You got a second?
I'll second.
And Chuck Hasford, second. And all in favor?
All right.
Okay, good. Moving on. Old business will start. I'm not going to dig too deep in here unless you want me to, because I know all of your time is valuable. So I want to start out. You have the list in front of you, and I'll just follow that. Airport lighting. Currently, the airport lighting is complete in the sense of the runway edge lighting has all been installed, operated, tested, has been functioning now for about 8 months. The runway, or I'm sorry, the new PAPI system, it has been installed. It is operable, yet it is not yet certified, therefore not in place. So the PLASI still exists. Mike, you want to say something about that real quick? Hopefully people can hear.
Sure, I'll speak up. So the PAPI, we have our application into FAA for flight check. I'm not sure of that schedule, have not seen much response on that, so we're checking into that. We have a same situation in another airport, so I'm not surprised, if you will, but we'll maintain the PLASI, so we have vertical guidance coming in on the 1-7 approach, and then the PAPIs, once we get FAA checkout, we'll be able to get those turned on and take out the PLASI system. So,
Thank you, sir. Okay, so, and then the beacon has been on. Who's noticed the beacon? If you notice the beacon, there it is. So it was
hopefully
not
nobody.
yeah, obviously nobody. So the beacon is on, it's functioning as designed. It has not caused one phone call since last Thursday night. So I'm very grateful for that because we're in compliance with the FAA and we have a beacon operating after 12 years and no one's fussing at this point. So very, very happy. The other thing too is we appreciate Bixby Electric going in, doing the extra mile. They repaired all of the airport ramp lighting. So it's back on where they're not on 24/7. They put new photocells in. So all in all, very pleased with the work that Bixby did and getting that contract done. And so thank you, Mike, for that. Hangar door. The hangar door currently is installed. It is about 70% up. We raised it for the balloon festival this past weekend. Unfortunately, it's on kind of like emergency power. So until the electrician gets in there and runs the proper wiring to it, hopefully this afternoon or tomorrow, we can't operate it as normal. We're afraid if we play with it too much that we're going to burn the circuit up and it'll get stuck. So that's creating a little bit of problem as we have a lot of visitors with their aircraft sitting on the ramp instead of in the hangar right now. Mike, have you got heard from them at all when that might happen?
I have not heard any updates since I think Thursday morning, and that was the plan. Was electrician was supposed to be early this week to finish that up.
Okay. So you all are welcome now if you would like to go by and take a look at what that looks like. It's a pretty impressive door, but hopefully in the next 48, 72 hours, we'll have a functioning door. With that, the fuel containment pad, which was on a separate grant from the door, has been completed and is good to go. The fuel covering for the pumps is completed. I think painting is all that's left on there, a few minor little things, but the covering is up, it's functional. That also was on a separate grant. So the only grant we have left to close out is just the door, or I should say work on a grant is just the door. And we hope to have that pretty quick. Snow removal, to bring you up to speed, a year ago, Commissioner Trujillo went out to Senator Heinrich's office and asked for funding for a snowplow for us. It was granted, signed by the president back in January. It was funded. It's all good. Unfortunately, like the speed of government, we're waiting for paperwork to come of how to apply for it. So there are regulations, I should say, guidance. Jim, you would know this, guidance for what we can and cannot buy. So we can't just say, hey, we want this. We have to follow FAA guidance to how big and, basically the parameters of this snowplow. Well, that's at the county level because the grant was given to the county, not to the village. So we're kind of in that stranglehold with that right now. We have to wait for the county to reach out to Heinrich to get this ball rolling. So the ask has happened multiple times. We still haven't received that guidance yet. So expect that hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. The reality is, if we've got to go out and get a decent snow, whatever it's going to be, blower or whatever, build time on that could be a year. So we certainly won't see anything this season on that. Mike or Guy, do you have any thoughts on that? Because both of you have been down this road. Nope. Okay.
I think you got it,
Yeah,
Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I got that
I could
covered.
say, yeah, I could say, Jeff, that I don't know what guidance they're referring to. I do know that the snow removal acquisition process is outlined in an advisory circular, and it gives the outlines for the calculations on what you would be eligible for and what you would not be eligible for.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I probably used the wrong terminology there, but you're right. All right, that closes A. Going on to B, sponsorship transfer. So I'm going to speak to from what I know, and then Guy's going to chat just a second on it also. Currently, right now, the glacier has not moved in approximately 6 months. We have reached out to FAA Direct, to the airport district office, made multiple attempts to find out what our status is. And it is just kind of radio silence on the sponsorship transfer. We have some other mechanisms. I actually put a letter in Brian Bedford, the administrator of the FAA's hands about a month ago. I don't know if that's circling through headquarters or not, but Brian is aware of our situation here directly. And then Guy, if you want to talk a little bit about another effort that we're working on, just to let the committee know kind of what's going on. Appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah, certainly. We've reached out right to DC to try to get just some direction on where they're at. Who's working on this? What are they currently working on, and when will they be finished with it? So very specific questions. We put that in a letter to them not that long ago. As Jeff said, it is kind of radio silence at this point. And we do, there's another letter that we put together through potentially a congressional inquiry, just to have the congressional delegation ask the same questions. We're hoping that will at least stir the pot for them to act in more of a timely manner. I do know from the beginning of submission till now, they said, you know, that it takes time and we're working on it. Well, that's not a very specific answer. Everything takes time and we're all working hard on things. So we're asking some very specifics to maybe get some more information from them. So that is the status. They don't need anything else from you guys or the county or anybody. That everything has been done. Lastly, I would say in anticipation for nothing's happening to, hey, it's been completed, you know, hurry up and wait. We have already worked with legal to formulate transfer letters so that once the FAA says this is good to go, the legal and council have already reviewed the closing, if you will, the letters that need to be signed between the county and the village. So that's been proactively done. Jeff, I'd put it back to you. I don't have much more to add other than that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so our village council has already drafted the agreement that will, it's now my brain's gonna slip, the warranty deed for property transfer, and that's done. The county has that. Their county lawyers have looked at it. So it appears once we get a green light from the FAA, it'll be a fairly quick ask to get together and sign the agreement, and then the sponsorship will be done. So that brings up part of what is going on right now as we transfer into new business and begin to kind of segue into that. We made the determination, because of some of the dynamics between the county and us on how, especially how grants are administrated, to hold on talking about actually putting contracts into people's hands for ground lease. Because at this point, for us to ground lease it, it would have to go through the county, and they would have to go through their approval process, and then somehow we would have to come back to try to administrate that. The MOU that we signed a year and a half ago would cover that, but there's a little bit of friction there. That also comes up to the RISE grant. We've had some difficulty here in the last 30 days to get the RISE grant pushed off for the same reason, because it's being administrated. So coming into August, just 6 weeks from now, is our CIP or ICIP in the state, but CIP in the FAA language. Well, we're going to start to look for grants. Once again, this is all in the county's hands. All of this was explained to the FAA, to the administrator and staff there, but nothing's moving. So I'm going to use that as an apology. So we as a group have not had a lot to talk about, simply because all of this stuff is in play, but nothing is moving at this point. But I think you can probably see the writing on the wall when that green light does come and that agreement is signed. There's going to be a whole lot of work happening really quickly. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, so let's go to new business. I sent out, and hopefully you all have had a chance to look at it, airport ground leasing and fee schedule. What I would like today, and again, we don't have a chairman. I'm just kind of acting as a voice right now. But if I was the chairman, I would say, if one thing that we could walk away today is an agreement on approximate cost per square foot. Hopefully you've seen your homework. You've seen what it takes to do a ground lease. But the one thing that I need to take before the Village of Angel Fire is cost per square foot, and that needs to be kind of codified into that agreement. So I'm just going to open up to discussion, and I know some of you are out there actually interested in renting land or leasing land to build your own hangars. So, you know, we're being transparent as we talk about this cost. So anybody like to start? Chuck? No, I pointed at him.
Yeah. No, I was just going on. I'm new to this. I don't really know a whole lot about it. So I did some research, and it looks to me like, 35 cents is a fair figure. It looked that if there's some possibly a larger airport, the fee schedule is a lot higher, about 70 cents a square foot. And I don't know whether in our proximity, 35 cents would probably be reasonable. It's for a 5-year period until you can adjust it again. So I would say that the 35 cents would probably be acceptable. I mean, the FAA's got to approve it, right?
No, the FAA doesn't approve it. We'll approve it.
Well, the council would approve it,
council
but does
approve
the FAA have anything to do with it?
They don't have a final say. So the guidance is that it has to be a reasonable rate, is what the FAA says.
Right.
Is that correct, Guy? And Mike, I think you guys know that. All right, thumbs up from both of them. Just a reasonable rate, but they don't actually approve the actual
Yeah.
number. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what we're deciding is what's a reasonable rate at Village of Angel Fire at the airport for this kind of lease. So
Yeah. Well, given our location and so forth, that's probably a good place to start. If you wanted to charge more, I suppose, would not, in my opinion, based on what I researched, I don't think that you'd want to go much more than 50 or 75 cents.
okay. Anybody else that had a chance to think about that?
Yeah, Jeff, I have a comment. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I have a hangar at the Moriarty Airport and I only pay 10.5 cents per square foot there. That's probably abnormally low, but my recommendation is that we keep the rate low initially, maybe for a 1 year or 2 year period in order to incentivize development. And maybe even put it in there that this is the introductory rate. At some date, it's going to go up to X. I would like to see an incentive for people to put a hangar in there, and having a high rate to begin, or even an average rate to begin with, might be counterproductive to that.
Mr. Mayor?
I agree with Glenn. I guess the only question I have is, you said once a rate's established, you can't revisit it for 5 years. And is there a maximum escalation you can do percentage wise? In other words, is it whatever we would just, or is it, can you only raise it by 20% or 30% or something to that effect?
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I can't answer that question, but I will find out. Mark? Yeah.
Well, maybe we both misheard you. I thought you said 5 years. If we decide on a number, it's got to be that number for 5 years. Is that not, did I misunderstand?
No, I believe that's what it is. Is that what you?
I don't know if it can be adjusted or not. I didn't read that. I know that after 5 years, they recommended you review it after 5 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be 5 years.
Yeah, because I would agree with the mayor and with Mr. Tillery that starting low to incentivize seems like the right way to go. But, we certainly wouldn't want to lock ourselves into
Okay.
10.5 cents a square foot for 5 years. If that's the option, we got to look at it a little bit more carefully.
Okay.
If we can, year to year, yeah, then I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel to figure out exactly the amount for the first year. I mean, you're going to know pretty quick if there's a lot of interest, which is what we want. I mean, that would be the nice problem to have. Well, guys, we're taking up to 17.5 cents this year. So, whatever it's going to be.
Or
Okay.
17.5 cents is the starting
Yeah.
point, whatever. But yeah, I agree with Mark's sentiment.
Other thoughts, folks?
I had a thought, Jeff and folks. Many leases that we work on, they also incorporate CPIU, adjusted every 2 years. So you could start. By the way, not that it's my place to agree, but I would agree with starting with a lower rate, and then the length of time. Their first period, 5 years, 4 years. That's up to you guys. But some folks also put in CPIU, so you can adjust it every 2 years. I wouldn't recommend doing it more frequently than 2 years because it's an administrative burden, but 2 years at a minimum. So maybe it's 2 years from now. You have an opportunity to adjust for CPIU, so you get just a little bump if something warrants that, but you keep the actual hard line, the dollar per square foot, locked for whatever period you guys are recommending.
Okay. From the
Question.
audience, Jim.
Just as a matter of experience over the years,
most of the people that sign these leases for their own hangars and do the construction and rental rates like to have leases that extend to at least 30 years, because they don't want to tie the money up for a 5-year period and then have the village cancel their lease on it. So when you're looking at signing this, you're looking at a long-term relationship with whoever your contract is with. And their expenditure for constructing the hangar up here, just because of the logistics of getting all the equipment into the valley here, is probably going to be conservatively double what they could do in, say, Phoenix, in the way of construction costs. That's going to be considerable based on the size of the box that you're building for the airplane. You could probably build the same box in Phoenix for half what you could do here. Just a general look at the way things are in the business. I've seen this sort of thing for decades.
Thank you. Yes.
So when you're talking about 5 years at one rate and then readjusting, I've had land leases on 2 hangars through the years. And with a 15-year lease, the rate was never readjusted periodically. So when you're talking about a 5-year readjustment, would that lease rate change?
Yeah, I believe so, right? But that would be scalable.
Well, so I tend to agree with both of them. So my impression would be that the initial rate would be for a 15 or 30-year lease, but it incentivizes people getting in a hurry and getting a hangar built and leased, because knowing that is going to go up in the future. But I think it would only be fair to, like in most situations, you're locked in for that period of time, whatever you agree. In other words, there's not an escalation clause in that lease. But if
Okay.
they get in at 10.5 cents,
Yep.
and then 2 years later it goes to 27 cents.
That's when you do the bump measure.
Okay.
So
I realize now we were not all talking about the same thing,
Okay.
right? To incentivize folks to build a hangar, to the gentleman's point, you got a
Thank you
significant,
for the tone.
yeah, no, but you got a significant amount of capital outlay to build the hangar.
Right.
And you're not gonna do that if your rate is going to be bumped every year, every 5 years, whatever. You're
Okay.
gonna, yeah, sure, maybe there's a CPI component to it and everybody knows what that is and can live with that. You can project around that. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
even if I get bumped, but I think what I'm saying is, whatever that number is, that's for someone in year one that gets through the door.
Yeah.
That deal may not be on the table for somebody that comes in year 2, 3, or
Okay.
4.
Correct. So it's like a build out. If you're buying a retail space, it's your build out. You get the low rate, you get the cash go. You first guys in there get a 10% rate or
I
whatever.
think with that, if you have
Yeah.
attractive lease rates, you get, but
You
to
get,
the point that it is gonna
Okay.
cost twice as much as it does in Phoenix or Moriarty for that matter.
okay.
And just from experience, most of the people who sign these leases and have their airplanes, build their hangars, they never stay there for a year.
No.
You know, it's rare that you see them there for more than 10 or 15. And when they move on, you write a clause in the contract that if they cancel the contract, you can renew it at your convenience and rates associated with the time that they vacate the property. So that will encourage them to build and pay a reasonable rate for whatever length of time they keep the airplane.
Okay.
You almost never know. Because in this business, if you fail your flight physical, you're done flying. The bus that get up in years, that's an issue.
Well, I mean, this is good discussion because I think what we should probably talk about then is, yes, we do need to think about what that initial, but we also need to talk about what the term will be. Are we, I mean, we've been discussing 30 years all along. It's kind of been this, yeah, but it's kind of where we,
Longer is,
yeah.
there's more incentive for a longer.
So, I mean.
Again, based on that initial investment.
Okay, so first of all, we're thinking, so we'll just establish, I don't know, do we, if we have to vote on it or not, but because we need to bring it to council, 30 years, that's the first component, right? And then
Can I-
rate, go ahead.
Another way you can do this is get around that is you could do it with guaranteed options. In other words, a 5-year with, 4 or 5-year options on top of that that can't be withheld without cause. And then you can make your adjustments in the options. If that way it gives somebody an out. They know in 5 years I'm out, they're able to walk away from it where they might not be, they may look at it and go, okay, I'm only going to be here 10, 12 years. What's my out in 10 to 12 years? But it's worth me building a hangar for that point. And then my other question was, at the end of this, I'm assuming that the building and everything reverts back to the village. How does that work?
That's correct.
Typically. And that's more of what you see for folks that are just renting a hangar as opposed to actually physically constructing the hangar and putting their airplane in it. Those kinds of deals are what you get if the airport already has 25 T hangars and renting to people with airplanes.
Well, I'm gonna turn this back around. Eliana, or did we never get anywhere with it? Okay, sorry, we're trying to work out the IT to make it so you could hear a little better. I, if no one is opposed, I would like to table this for about 3 weeks and give us more time to outline something very specific to talk about in the next meeting. I do like the option thing too, because I mean, that was part of the initial discussion is take a 10-year, you got an option for another 10 years. This is what your rate's going to be, but we want to talk about that fee, that rate, and what the contract looks like and bring it back to committee. Would anybody be opposed to tabling it for, let's say, right after the week after 4th of July, about 3 weeks out, and then get back together on that? Give us a little more time to flesh this out. Okay, seems like everybody's good with that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we're gonna make a motion to table.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor? Oh, all right, you got a second?
Second.
Second, and everybody's in favor. Okay, very good. This is good. We're getting closer. Hopefully by the time we get back, we may have a green light. All right. The next thing that came up was the role of the airport committee. I did send out, I'm gonna see if I can find this.
Staying there.
Yes, if I can read it here. This is a mission statement that was written about 8 months ago. Do you all have this? Did this get to your inbox? In the invite, the mission statement, purpose and role, structure, that portion? I'm not seeing any heads nod. I got a thumbs up there, so that's good. Okay. And for folks out here, Jackie, you got it? Good. Jim, no, Mark? Okay. Well, let me read this. Because we want to do a couple things to get this structured correctly, get it organized. But why are we doing what we're doing? In the mission statement, the Angel Fire Advisory Committee, it's a citizen-based advisory body established to provide informed guidance and recommendation regarding airport operations, planning, development, and policy. The committee serves as a collaborative link between the Village of Angel Fire and the airport. The committee I'm sorry, let's start that again. The Angel Fire Airport, the Village of Angel Fire, airport users, and the community, ensuring that decisions affecting the airport are made with consideration for safety, economic development, operational efficiency, environmental stewardship, and community interests. So I'd like to open it up for discussion just about that statement, what your thoughts are. Yays, nays? Anybody have any input on that? Okay, all right. So we're gonna vote to adopt that here in a minute, if that's good. The next part of it is going to be, if I hold this far enough away, is the purpose and role. Um, Purpose and role. The Airport Advisory Committee serves as an advisory capacity to the Village of Angel Fire Airport Management and other governing authorities. The committee provides recommendations and feedback on matters related to the airport operations, strategic planning, infrastructure development, land use compatibility, public safety, and community concerns. The committee's primary purpose is to promote open communication between the airport and the public while supporting the long-term success, sustainability, and economic value of the airport. So that would be our purpose and role. Any thoughts on that? No? You guys are too easy. All right. And then the structure and membership. The committee membership shall consist of individuals appointed by the mayor of the Village of Angel Fire and may include local residents, business reps, aviation stakeholders, government officials, and other community members with an interest in airport operations and development. Members shall serve for 2 years and may be eligible for reappointment in accordance with village policies and procedures. Yes, Ms. Jackie.
So you're talking. No T versus an authority.
Correct. So for those that know the difference, an airport authority normally operates as a kind of a separate governing unit from the village itself, meaning the village appoints, says, here you go over here, you guys do this business. Generally speaking, it's the least common type of community input in America. Most public use airports would have something like this advisory committee. And Jackie, I don't, to speak to that, where something like an authority comes in would be if Oklahoma, all airports have airport authorities. The reason being is because state law does not allow a village like us to have a operation that's in the red all the time, meaning that authority, the authority that can take a hold of that, and they can be the one that's causing the red mark on the financial lines. And that's literally why they separate it. But in general speaking, and that's going, and Guy and Mike, you're both familiar with this all over the U.S. An authority is a different animal that also is not. It's not part of the structure of the Village of Angel Fire, so it's not within our purview to do that. Meaning we'd have to create new ordinances and rules and regs to be able to create an authority. So that is the reason why we went with the more common, just doing a committee. Now, the teeth in that is that you're helping direct the success of the airport. Not always going to agree on certain things, but the teeth is we have people that are behind the mission of the airport and can serve on that committee to do that. And, you know, I'd say unfortunately, fortunately, then we have a board or a village council then that votes and decides yes or no. From what I've learned, it's primarily financial, but yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, which is basic by the bylaws right now is the only way it could operate as an enterprise. which is what the airport is within the village structure. So, no, I appreciate that. It is, it's one of those things. Go ahead.
It was one of those a few years ago when we brought the airport manager from Pelican down and had a discussion. They had a separate authority where they worked with the village, but yet had different expertise. And this is the first really good black and white document that I've seen. And that's why I asked about the difference between the Airport Advisory Committee, which basically was disbanded and ignored, as opposed to an authority. And if it's the village that has the ultimate teeth to the setup, that makes sense for where we are right now.
Most of the authorities I'm aware of also have a separate one.
Correct. And that's where we can't do that. Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely beholden to Adrian. I thought I was beholden to the mayor, but here's more than the finance director. Izzy smiles. All right, very good. Any more discussion on this? Do we need to add or take away? Do we want to table it so you have more time to look at it till the next meeting? Or do we want to, because I'd like to take this to the council and have them approve this. If we have no objections, so.
Nope.
Start, Chuck.
Hmm.
Move this forward, a motion to,
Oh, you want a motion?
yeah, well,
I'll make a motion. We accept the draft for the Airport Advisory Committee mission statement.
No second that.
and Jean Quist seconded, and all in favor, say,
Aye.
all opposed?
I,
Okay, very good. The last piece I may have to table because I'm looking through, did all of you get the airport standards manual? Because I'm looking at my last email and realizing I did not see that. Airport standards manual. Does that ring a bell? No. Okay, so we're going to table this last item. I apologize. What that is, I wrote a operations manual for the airport with the idea that it is a 10-year document, not a document to start us with. So hopefully down the road when I'm long gone, you still have a good operations manual, and it covers everything from who employees are to what roles are to when a separate FBO might come in and they're that structure also. So I apologize. I will get that sent out to you as soon as possible this afternoon, hopefully. Next meeting date, if we can move on. Miss Ileana, what looks good if we get 3 to 4 weeks out at the most? Because we got holidays coming up.
So are you looking at the week of the 6th of July or the week of the 13th?
Just as a show of hands or jump in here, 6th of July or the 13th of July, what's better?
Be out of town.
Okay, so we're already -1.6.
Yeah, I can. If that's the only one that works, I'll make it work.
Do you guys prefer a Monday?
What are the options?
The week of the 6th of July or the week of the 13th of July?
We're talking about a Monday.
That again, that's open. Works best? Seems like Mondays are pretty good.
The 6th is better for me.
Okay, 1, 4 and 1.
Oh, that's fine. I will
You can
jump on it.
You can do a Zoom call. Okay, Mark would be out, but Mr. Lowe, any thoughts? No, either or. Okay. July 6th, 11 o'clock. Try to keep it short and sweet. All right, we've done pretty good. 41-minute meeting. That's pretty decent. Any other thoughts, comments, things that you want to throw out before we close? Mike, you're good, guy. Okay, Mr. Lowe. Okay. All right. Well, with that, I want to give you seriously a great thanks for your time. I know this is hours, a big deal for most of you. Thank you for helping us as we push forward this next 6 months. It's going to get really crazy around here with building. So I appreciate your time again and look forward to seeing you here in about 3 weeks. And I hope you all have a good, safe holiday. With that, we adjourn the meeting. Get to pound the gavel.
Thank-
Very cool. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.